Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Welcome back to the Health by Haven podcast. I have a very fun episode for you all today. I chat with Julianna, a Falmouth, Massachusetts-based runner, dietitian, race announcer, and host of the Runnah Podcast. We cover tons of running topics during our conversation, including the Falmouth running community, the Cape Cod Marathon weekend, road running versus trail running, running with chronic illness, dealing with injuries, and lots of running shoe talk. I hope this episode keeps you company while on the run, doing your chores, or commuting to work, and I know you will have lots of laughs, learn more about running, and maybe even want to travel to New England for your next race after listening to this episode. All right, Julianna, thank you so much for joining us on the Health by Haven podcast today. I think there's a lot of different ways this conversation could go, so I'm excited to see what we chat about today in running and in wellness, but thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. We already talked a little bit about being fellow runners, and I think that that's like a great connection point and also something that I can also talk literally the entire day about. And I tend to do, especially when I announce the Cape Cod Marathon for like 8 hours that day. I do a lot of talking.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, that's why you're podcast hosts, right? Like we just get to come on here and blah about whatever we want. And oftentimes that's running. And that's what a lot of my listeners like to listen to. You know, you see the downloads for the different episodes and the running ones are always very popular. So I know I found my people and they sound like your people too. So let's chat all things running. Can you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, so my podcast is called Runnah, Runnah, because that's how you pronounce it in Massachusetts. And it's very much so focused on like the local running scene in Falmouth and on the Cape and Islands. And also kind of beyond that, reaching into other like parts of New England. But it's just highlighting like a lot of everyday runners, a lot of like cool things that are happening. Also the Falmouth Road Race, which is an extremely popular road race that happens in the town that I live in. And also the Cape Cod Marathon, which is I would say a pretty popular, like mid-tier marathon. We have about like 4,500 runners across the weekend who come and run with us. And we've consistently sold out year after year. So I would say that we are decently popular, you know, and we have a nice time. But that's largely what it's talking about. But it's a lot of like relatable topics. Like we've had some people come on talking about like running through cancer or like running with injuries, or a lot of people from the recovery community coming on, which is a very like interlocked community here on the Cape. But just like everyday people like us too, just relatable stories and just an enthusiasm for running essentially. And just me being kind of a little bit unhinged a lot of the times.
I love it. And I love that you're showcasing to people like all the variety of runners. You don't have to fit a specific mold to be a runner. And like you're making it approachable for people. So I think a lot of people can be really intimidated by the running space. You know, if you see like, I don't know, I'm in New York City, so you see these like massive run crews like coming down the West Side Highway and you're like, oh my gosh, like all their form looks so amazing. Like how could I ever go into one of those run clubs? Like I don't know anybody, you know, all those anxieties could start to come through your mind. Like I don't even know what shoes to wear. And so I want to hear how you got started with running.
Yeah. So, I mean, the origin story of me running starts with me and my best friend, Lydia, who I grew up with. We were seniors in high school and she was like, Julianna, wouldn't it be crazy if we ran a mile every day after school? I was like, Lydia, that's insane. And so we did that.
Wild women.
We were crazy. And when we started, we were running around, it was like the middle of the winter or something. And we were running laps around the gym. And I think it was like 13 laps around the gym to do a mile. So we ran like it was a little bit insane because of just like the number of laps. And her and I both have like some kind of ADHD or ADD. So like, I don't know how close we actually got to like the 13 laps, but you know, we tried.
Yeah. A for effort.
Yeah, so that's like the starting point. I didn't do like track or like any kind of cross country or anything like that. And then me and my mom did the Couch to 5K program, which led to me kind of just like running in college. Fun fact is actually my first road race I ever did was the Falmouth road race, and I did not grow up in Falmouth, and I had no idea I was
Oh,
going to move here
no
in the future.
kidding. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Wait, how did that come to be?
Well, my aunt and uncle have had a beach house down here on the Cape, and they had
Uh-huh.
run the Falmouth Road Race a bunch of times. And then they were like, "Oh, you guys, like me and my other siblings and my mom, they're like, you guys should run the Falmouth Road Race. It's a lot of fun. We do it every year." And I was like, "Fine, whatever. We'll like bucket list thing. We'll just put our names into the lottery because that's how you
Hmm.
get in if you don't live in Falmouth." And we got in, and that was like the start of me like actually doing any kind of like distance beyond the 5K because I had to
Mm.
train for that obviously. And yeah, my first road race ever, and it actually went pretty well for me considering it's my
Yeah.
first one ever. But
Amazing.
I had no idea I was going to move down to Falmouth in like I think it was like 7 years after that maybe. So
So
it,
what brought you there? Because it seems to me like you're like super plugged into the running community. So I want to know like what took you there and how you got involved.
Yeah, I moved down here for a job because
Mm.
my history of employment, I guess, is being a dietitian, which I do still do. I don't do it in the capacity that I was doing previously, which was working in long-term care.
Mm.
That gets quite depressing, especially if we're doing that during COVID, and I did that for 9 years, which makes me feel very elderly that I'm even saying that because I know I've had my license longer than that too.
Yeah.
But I was working in long-term care, and I moved up here for that job because I had moved down to Richmond, Virginia for a little bit on my own, like just fully on my own. I didn't know a single person there. I just needed the job out of
Hmm.
college. And I was like, I'm not a Southern person. I'm not quite religious enough. And I also talk way too fast for these people. So it was just like not my calling in life to be a Southern person.
Yeah.
And I moved back up, and this was the first job I was able to get. And I just moved here because the job was a good fit for where I was. And I have since fallen in love with the running community here. And I would say I'm like a decent part of it. I feel like I'm Falmouth's favorite female runner.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the fastest. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm saying like I'm like if people are like, who do we like? Who's the female runner around here? They're like Julianna's like a good person to like. We like her.
Yeah. So fun. So are there any like run clubs or meetups there that you participate in?
Yeah, so our club is the Falmouth Running Club, and we have like a bunch of things that happen every week. We have Monday night workouts and Wednesday night workouts. Mondays are hills, Wednesdays are track. Then we have a Saturday morning long run, which I usually do. And then we also have like we usually do a longest long run for Boston and
Mm.
also for the Cape Cod Marathon, which happens in the fall. So like twice a year
Mm.
we'll do that. There's also just a lot of like people meeting up to go running around here all the time. Falmouth is very much so like a running, walking community. I
Hmm.
would throw biking in there too as well, but when the weather is nice like it is now, it's like an anthill. There are people running, walking everywhere, and you cannot like go anywhere, even when the weather is not good. You cannot go anywhere without seeing someone running or walking. It's just everyone here is a runner or a walker essentially. And it's also a very supportive community for that too. And people in Falmouth like really love the runners and the walkers here. I'll go out for like a random morning run, and someone will be sitting on their porch clapping for me because they
Oh
just
my gosh, stop. That's so
it happens
adorable.
it happens all the it's a universal experience around here in
Wow.
this town. Like or people like even this morning I passed a guy when I was running, and they give me like a big thumbs up. They're like, "You're looking great." I'm like, and I have no idea who this person, I don't know this person, and
Yeah.
they're just enthusiastic that I'm out there running, and I'm like, "That's great. I'm enthusiastic that you're out here walking too." Like however you get outside, it's a nice time to be there.
Honestly, that's so amazing. And what like a great community to be part of because you
Oh
want the
yeah.
support and you want the like movement and like get outside, get some fresh
Mhm.
air, like move your body. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us how you started getting involved with the announcing for Cape Cod.
Oh yeah. So I believe like yourself, I'm a long-term listener to the Alley on the Run podcast.
Yes.
I did hear your Lagoon sleep pillow ad, and I was like, I think I know where that came from.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
like, I wish they were paying me like they are her, but you know.
yeah, I mean, she's been at it for a while, and she has
Yeah.
a pretty big audience, so
Yeah.
I understand. But I identify with Allie in a lot of ways. I have a lot of GI issues. I have a lot of chronic illness things. I do not have cancer, luckily, so that's a bonus for me.
Mm.
But I also am like a very like outgoing, like just like upbeat human, and I love performing. And I have a history of like theater, podcasting, obviously, public speaking. I go to conventions that are like nerd conventions, and I present panels and things like that. Like I love being on a stage. It's a nice time for me, and I love emceeing an event.
Okay.
And like I had this thought to like ask. This was now 5 years ago, I think. Yeah, 'cause
Mm.
last year was my fourth year announcing the Cape Cod Marathon, so we're going into year five. But I've been working for the Cape Cod Marathon for 6 or 7 years, I think, probably
Hmm.
7, doing the social media.
Nice.
And I had heard that Allie had started like announcing. I was like, oh, that sounds like something I would really like to do. Like I have seen everyone announcing at the marathon, and I really would like to try that. And because I'm already a part of our like small team that makes up the Cape Cod Marathon, which is me, our admin Kathy, and our race director Jack. There's only three of us who are
Mm.
like year-round employees. I know them very well, and I have an in. And I was just
Yeah.
like, Jack, can I do this? And he's very persuadable, you know. And so he was like, okay, if you want to, Juliana, you can do it. And I absolutely love it. That was back, I believe that would put me, what year is it? Like 2022, I think I want to say,
Mm.
was the first year that I did it. And now I announced because we have essentially 2 days as part of the Cape Cod Marathon. Weekend day, we have the half marathon, which happens on the Saturday. And then we have the 5K full marathon kids run relay on the Sunday. And so I'm on the mic largely from like 7 to noon and then 7 to 3:30, both of those days. And then I also announce our local races around here. We have 4 other races that happen in town that are put on by the Falmouth Running Club.
Mm.
And I've also been outsourced to like other races since then that have happened locally that people need an announcer for. But it's just a lot of fun for me. I'm just someone who loves like yelling recreationally is one of my favorite activities. So like screaming is one of my positive screaming is one of my favorite hobbies. So for me to be able to do that all day and just be able to like vibe with people, I'm also someone who's like a highly like energy, like vibes based human. And
Yeah.
so like my job with like announcing the marathon is like we've named me the instead of the MC, I'm the MV, the master of vibes.
Yes, I love it.
Because like I'm like largely, if you step anywhere on Main Street in Falmouth that whole weekend, you will be berated by my voice. So like I understand that I am setting the tone for like a lot of the entire weekend. And I have the ability between that and doing the social media to make runners feel at ease, to make them feel welcome, to make them feel like it's like a fun time to be there. And I just love doing that. It's like it's Christmas and New Year's Day and like Thanksgiving and like any holiday, like and my birthday, like all rolled into one on that one weekend. Like that is very clearly my favorite weekend out of the entire year.
I mean, I can feel it just from you like talking about it, how much you love it. And that's
I
so
love it.
amazing because then when you're out there doing it, when you're announcing like you said, the energy, like people feel that. Like
Oh yeah.
you are hyping them up, you're like getting them
Mhm.
excited no matter what happened during their training block, right? If they had a
Yeah.
run like I did this morning where I was like, why do I feel like I'm fighting for my life? This is only 4
Uh-huh.
miles. Like
Uh-huh.
what is happening?
Yeah.
If they had a run like that, during their tape or whatever, you're hopefully, putting them at ease and getting them excited for race day.
Yeah, it's very nice for me and very rewarding to be able to like put a smile on people's faces too, because like yourself, like I am also running and like I'm running like marathons and ultras and things like that. And I understand and know how much it lifts my mood when I cross the finish line and someone announces my name because I've lived that experience. I continue to live that experience, which I think is very important for us at the Cape Cod Marathon because we're all runners still and we all like go to the other races, like all the team that's in charge of it. and like experience things that we like and that we don't like. We take notes. Like we're constantly learning from other people and ourselves at this race. But for me, one of the best things is just watching people's faces change when I announce their name, like they're like the biggest celebrity in the world. And my favorite thing to do is I promise people, if I know who you are and you live locally, you get announced as a local legend.
Yes. Love that.
And that just, I also have started we started live streaming the finish line as well too, which is part of one of the things that I've been working on the last couple of years as part of the Cape Cod Marathon. I'll go back and watch that while I'm uploading it. And I end up crying because I get to get a closer view of like what these people's faces look like before I announce their name and then after it. And just like watching their faces light up just like makes me cry. And it happens every year. I end up crying while I'm uploading the video. And it's really nice.
Yeah, well, you're making people feel seen. And it's really hard work to train for a race of any distance and to go out and give your best effort, day after day when you don't necessarily always want to in your training, but then also on race day. So to feel even just that little tiny glimmer of like recognition for all that you've put in, like that's so amazing.
Yeah, and everyone deserves it too. And like I definitely make sure, like we have this challenge called the Chowder Challenge, which is the half marathon and the full marathon back-to-back days, which I've actually done twice. So I fully understand how.
Sounds brutal.
The first time I did it was like, that's the funny part is that's where my marathon PR is from.
No way.
It was a really terrible weather day on that marathon day. Like we had hail the last couple of miles in the eyeballs. Like it was wild. But like I have a lot of like memories and stories with the people that I ran that with. So like this, it lives rent free in my brain largely. But I understand how challenging that is from like an actual perspective. And so like those people always get like an extra cheer from like I make sure they get like because I know what color the bibs are. I see them like all the way down the chute and like I make everyone just like scream for them. Because like I understand how hard it is to rack up 39.3 miles over 2 days. It's not easy.
Yeah, that's a lot on the legs for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're like getting me hyped about Cape Cod. I'm like, maybe I need to come run this race. So I'm sure the listeners are feeling the same way. If they're like, wait, I want to go and do that, how do they sign up?
So right now you can just go to capecodmarathon.com and all of the race distances still have spots left in them. I will say, if you're looking to run the half marathon, the 5K, or the Lobster Challenge, which is the half marathon and then the 5K the next day, a little bit more approachable than the Chowder Challenge. Yeah. Those have sold out the past years, usually around like June or July. And the race is not till October. So I would say if you're considering any of those distances and you feel like hyped up to come run with us, which you should, go register for those now. You'll get the best price too. The price, I think we have one more price increase coming up if I'm remembering correctly. But that is open for registration and we would love to have anyone who wants to come run with us and you'll get to see me or at least hear me.
And not sponsored, but I mean, if you're looking for a fall race, it sounds really fun. Yeah. What is the weather normally like there? I feel like October could go either way.
It's like a 50-50 shot. We usually have like one good day where it's like gorgeous and one day where it's like either rainy or just like really windy or like not the best. Though there have been years, I will say what year is this? 2024. We had two like absolutely gorgeous days back to back. Like it was absolutely perfect weather.
Amazing.
Last year we had like a stunning day for the half marathon. Like it was like 50 degrees and it was like 60 by the time everyone finished. It was a nice light breeze, like rolling clouds. It was stunning. Sunday was not so much. We had a really like rough rainstorm roll in around like noon. But I've run it multiple years before and during when I've been working for it. And it's kind of like a 50-50 shot. The marathon used to happen on like the last weekend of October, which was like Halloween weekend. The weather's a lot better now that it's on Indigenous Peoples Day weekend. It was definitely a lot more of a crapshoot when it was just even those like 2 or 3 weeks later. Yeah. But right now, I would say like you have like a 75% chance of getting like a pretty good day. And also, like, the Cape just looks gorgeous this time of year in October. Like, you're going to get some, and the whole race, like, goes all the way down the coastline, and it's just pretty. You know, you go by the lighthouse. It's a nice time.
Yeah, sounds amazing. And I mean, of course, we're all like dreaming of the perfect race day weather,
Mm.
but I have to say, like, one of my favorite race day memories is when my dad and I ran Flying Pig Half a few years ago, and it was
Mm.
absolute torrential downpour, lightning and thunderstorm. They like tried to
Oh my
actually
gosh.
stop the race partway through, which you can imagine
wow.
how that went. Like, none of us
Yeah,
are
that'd be
checking our
hard.
email, by the way. I had an email when I got back to my hotel room being like, the
Yeah,
race
that's-
has been paused. Like, obviously, I did not see that. It was
No.
insanity, but you know what? Like, my dad and I still laugh about it. Like, it was so much fun. Once you get over the fact, like, okay, I'm drenched, like, you just go and have a fun day in it. So,
Yeah, I think it was 20, must be, yeah, it was 2018. We had this like really, really, really windy, rainy day for the half marathon. And people still tell stories about this day because the wind was just absolutely wild. And I would say at least like 5 people that I know have their half marathon PR from that day because the wind was shoving you back towards the finish line so hard that you had no choice but to like pick up the pace. So I know a bunch of people who actually still to this day, that's their half marathon PR because of the wind was just so ridiculous on the way back.
hey, I will take the wind like pushing me along any day. That's amazing.
Yeah, there was one person I know who has actually his PR is from that day, but he fell and he like scraped his knee and he still tells this story like over and over and over again. I'm like, Brian, I understand. You told me the story last time. Like I was there. I hear you.
But it was such a fun day. He can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, it was a great day. But yeah, the weather doesn't necessarily dictate the day. I mean, even when I did the Chowder Challenge and like we had the hail coming down on us the last day, like I still had a great time. It was I have so many positive memories from that whole weekend that like the weather is just a character in the story, you know?
Yeah, for sure. If you've been feeling wired but tired, overwhelmed for no clear reason, or like your body just can't quite seem to settle, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. Your nervous system might just need support getting reorganized. And that's why we created the Back to Baseline bundle. For just $300, you'll get a 75-minute one-on-one Health by Haven health coaching session with me, where we'll discuss what's really going on in your day-to-day life, your stress, your habits, your nutrition, and start sustainably building a path back to feeling like yourself again. Then you'll continue that work in your body with a 60-minute CFT session at Avodah Massage Therapy. This isn't just massage, it's focused, intentional work designed to help your nervous system slow down, release stored tension, and reorganize into a more regulated, grounded state. Because healing isn't just about pushing through, it's about creating safety in your body again. If you're ready to feel more like you, steady, clear, and connected, the Back to Baseline bundle is here for you. Learn more and register for your session through the link in this podcast episode description or over on Instagram, links in the bio of @HealthByHaven. Okay, we've been spending a lot of time chatting about road racing, but I have been listening to your podcast. Shout out to Apple Podcasts for recommending it. They know all I do is eat, sleep, run, you know? But anyways, I heard on one of your recent episodes, you know, you're very into trail running as well, and you maybe have a big goal around that. So let's chat all things trail running.
Yeah, I mean, I only got into trail running like about a year and a half ago, give or take. My best friend Ben is like a big time trail runner, and he's done the Jigger Johnson 50, which is a 50-mile race through all the White Mountains in New Hampshire, which is it's I would say inarguably the most challenging ultra on the East Coast. Like it's insane. Like it's like certified like insane, but he loves this thing. This is like his like second love next to his wife.
Ben, you're crazy.
Yeah, Ben is crazy. But Ben is my favorite like running partner. We have a nice time running together. And Ben was like, I was like, do you want to go running? He was like, only if you want to run trails. I was like, I am not running trails. Like I will fall. I'm like not doing that. And then I gave in and now I'm like totally all in on it. And I feel like for someone with ADHD, it just gives you more things to like think about when when you're out there. Like my brain doesn't wander as much in like a negative way when I'm trail running, because like you have to think of where your foot placement is. There's just like more ups and downs. It's just a lot more technical than road running. But I kind of have just like swung all in on trail running, which is great. I know you mentioned like the big goal too. I recently have like kind of come to the conclusion and like the acceptance that I am like qualified to be like a para athlete, just because I have Ehlers-Danlos, I have ankylosing spondylitis, I have hip dysplasia, I have the focal dystonia of my left foot. Like there's a lot going on, you know. I also had a colon resection. I have chronic GI issues. Like, you know, Julianna is a hot mess on a good day. So, like with all those things combined, like I understand that I like qualified to be part of the para scene. And my big goal is to hopefully, if they induct it into the Olympics, to be part of the trail Paralympic team in 2032. I feel like I'm like good enough to do it. I've only been trail running again like a year and a half. I won my first 50K.
Amazing.
And
casual.
I really, just casual. And I wasn't like, it's not like I was trying to win it either. Like I thought I was in third the entire time. And like my buddy, again, Ben was running the last 3 laps with me because it was a 5-lap course. And he kept telling me we were in third. And I was like, I think we're in first, but I don't really know. Because I had lost the lady. There were 2 other ladies that I was running with for a minute, and then I lost them. And I thought they had fallen back, but I didn't really understand. Like I had been in and out of the bathroom like a couple of times, like whatever. And I was like, maybe they passed us while I was in the porta potty. I don't know. But like we came to the finish. They're like, you won. I was like, oh,
cool.
Great. I won a stump. They gave me a stump.
No way.
Like, oh yeah. Trail running is funny in that where there's usually no prize money, and whatever the prize is, it's usually something where if it's like 100-miler or higher, it's usually like a belt buckle. For some reason, where I don't really wear like regular pants. I don't know when I finally get my 100-mile belt buckle. I don't know where I'm going to put this. Probably on my wall.
But, like put it in a shadow box or something.
I never wear hard pants. I'm a soft pants gal all the way. For like sensory things from the ADHD, you know. But like they like to give like weird items. They'll give like plants. They'll give like stained glass windows sometimes. It's just like weird things. So they like to be freaky about it, and I totally support that.
Do you remember like the very first trail run you went on? I'm assuming it was with your friend. Like what was that like? Because I am in the camp you used to be in, where I'm like, I cannot go trail running. I will fall and break a leg. Like what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I was very nervous that I was going to fall, and the funny part is I did fall, but it wasn't like I didn't like trip and fall. We actually, Ben and I talk about this to this day because it was like comically funny. We had stopped to let like another, because we go running with his dog, Finn. So it's me, Finn, and Ben is like usually like the core 3 when we go trail running together. And sometimes we'll drop Finn off, and then he and I will go run like more miles after that, because Finn will go like 5 or 6 miles with us, which is great. Tire him out. Yeah. But we had pulled like to the side of like a single track trail to let another dog and an owner pass by us. And there was just like a teeny tiny like little ledge with like bushes behind it. And like I literally melted into the bush like Homer Simpson meme style. Like almost slow-mo. It's like, and just like melted. I literally melted into the bush. And like for me, and also for Ben, like as an outsider and the person inside the body, it was comically funny. Yeah. So I did fall, but it was like, well, not the fall I was anticipating. Yeah. Which is a very common thing with trail running. Like the places where you think you're going to fall, you don't, because you're paying attention. It's like, I have this friend, Chris, his name is Chris Risco, and I call it pulling a Chris Risco, which is falling when you're running along like a flat surface. Like you're just not paying attention, and like a blade of grass like catches you or something stupid like that. And you just go down because you think you're going to go down when you're like cascading down rocks down some hill or whatever. But it's really when you're not paying attention because you're on a flat surface and you're like, everything is fine. And you get that little teeny tiny like bump in the grass and you're like, woo!
You're a little overconfident, and then next thing you know, you're on the ground.
Yeah. I will say like doing some balance work definitely helps a lot. I mean, I've been doing a lot of PT recently. but I feel a lot more confident on the trails when I have like better balance work under my belt. But I think that most people can probably do it. If I can do it with all my chronic illness junk, like I think like most people can probably get out there and do stuff. It definitely is like a little bit of a mind shift. And I definitely recommend people invest in a solid pair of trail shoes, because having that like extra grip and a little bit of a lug definitely is like a bonus. Just speaking from experience, even like I did my long run last week on trails because I'm again running that 6-hour trail ultra. And I like a bunch of the times your shoes will be, if you have like a good grip on the bottom, it'll just kind of catch you on a rock. So that way you don't like roll out an ankle or like it's something like that. You just have better traction. And I just find that I prefer to have that. There are some people who are wild animals who just run in road shoes that are like completely burnt out on the bottom too on trails. And I'm like, yeah, I don't live that life. So
Yeah, I don't want to feel the rocks.
yeah, there's definitely trail shoes are a different beast than like non-trail shoes for roads, because you kind of want different things. Like you want, for me, I like having a rock plate. Just because I run on my toes and like not having that full distribution of the weight over your entire foot. Like I just need some protection, but that's not really that's not a thing that exists in non-trail shoes. Because you're not really negating like landing on rocks and things like that. But you can negate the rocks by higher cushion. Like I have a shoe that has like a TPU plate in it that I really like, and that gives you like the rock protection too. But you just kind of have to try some things and figure it out. Like, what does my foot strike look like? What kind of terrain am I running on typically? And like, how do I want to like negate that? Do I want like more cushion? Do I want less cushion? Some people love those like minimal trail shoes, which sometimes I do enjoy, that are like, you just feel every single crevice and rock. And sometimes it's kind of nice. And sometimes I'm like, today I just need a little bit more protection.
Yeah, definitely. And I know from following along with your social and your podcast, like you're very into shoes. So give us a few of your faves, like on the trails and on the roads.
I'm trying to think like I have so many shoes, and I've also just like rotated out a bunch of shoes recently because like I feel like with every injury and or like bigger race that I run, my feet get wider. I don't know if anyone else identifies with this, but I ran in the Ultra Experience Flow 3 this morning, which was very nice wide toe box. Probably my favorite like wide-footed daily trainer that I've run in a very long time. The Topo Spectre 2, it's kind of Topo's response to the Super Blast from ASICS. So it's like their super trainer. I've been running in the Ultra Mont Blanc on trails for the most part, the Saucony Endorphin, the Saucony Exynos Ultra. That's what that one is. I love all the Puma shoes, the Forever Run, the Mag Max, like the Velocity, the DV8. Puma is just like an underrated brand.
Yeah, they don't get as much hype, I feel like, in the running community.
No, and they make really good shoes.
Yeah.
Like I've worn a lot of shoes and I've tried out a lot of different shoes. I think right now I checked my Strava because I updated my shoe rotation to make sure all the ones that were on there were still in rotation. I have 30 shoes that I'm currently rotating through.
My gosh. How do you keep track?
You just put them into Strava. I have a rack of shoes in my bathroom. So and it literally reaches the ceiling.
Honestly, goals.
Yeah. I also, and you probably know this from some of the podcast stuff I put out too, I thrift shoes very regularly, and I have a pretty good knack of being able to find shoes that are either like brand new or almost brand new for like $40 or less.
Where are you finding this? This is actually something I was curious about because I'm like, I'm paying a pretty penny for brand new running shoes.
Well, I was listening to your like favorites things that you did a little while ago, and I heard about like the New Balance 1080, and I was like, which is a great shoe. And I ran New York and I ran Tokyo in that shoe. So currently right now, Julianna's feet are a little bit too wide for that shoe, but it fits a little bit more like a slipper than it does. Like it's not super restrictive, but it's definitely a little bit on the narrower side when it comes to a New Balance. Again, I know too many things about shoes, but what was the question again? I got derailed.
Where are you finding these for a discount? Like pre-owned?
Yeah. My favorite places are Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. I feel like I've tried Depop. People there seem to be listing things a little bit higher than I care to pay for them. and the shipping cost seems to be a little bit like higher than some of the other places. Sometimes I'll look on like REI or like Relay, but Relay has like a more guaranteed higher quality shoe. So if you're someone who like, I worked at a running shoe store for 2.5 years, like I'm very good at sussing out like a shoe's like lifespan based on its appearance alone. And I understand that. And I understand that's not a skill that everyone has. So like I also offer to my friends too, I was like, if you need a shoe, like I'm happy to do some research for you and see if I can find it at a discount, you know? I mean, like even today I was on Poshmark and I found a pair of Mag Maxes from Puma that I think I'm probably going to buy. They're listed for $40 and they're like, they literally look brand new.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. And like I bought some Asics New Tries recently, which is one of their like everyday trainers, the one that looks like a Picasso painting. It for like $20 and they were legitimately brand new. Like I don't think anyone had even worn them once.
Wow.
But I understand that that's not a skill that everyone has, but Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari are generally speaking like the three places that I like to look first. And then there are a lot of like other outdoor like resale websites that are out there for sure. I mean, you can also check on like Reddit as well too. Like Reddit, there's like a resale subreddit as well too, but people generally speak, you'll get like a guaranteed newer shoe there usually, but the prices are usually a little bit higher. The good thing about like Poshmark and Mercari and eBay is a lot of people who are selling shoes are trying to just like clean out their closets and they like, I'm assuming like bought the shoe a while ago, never wore it. It sat in their closet. They're doing like a mass closet clean out and their attitude is like, just get it out of my house.
Yep. Yeah.
So and the people who are selling them have no context for the shoe largely. Like they don't understand like the actual value of the shoe, which is good for us because then we get it at a cheaper price.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great tip for people who are like, oh, I like want to get into running, but I don't really know like what's going to work for me. Like this is the way. Obviously go to your running store and get fit and everything. But like, this is a way you could try a couple of pairs for like a more affordable price.
I mean, also you can do the classic, like order on Amazon. If you have an Amazon Prime account and make sure it's returnable, like just wear it around the house a little bit. And then if you don't, if it like, you realize like, oh, I need a different size or like, this is just not what I thought it was going to be. You can then return it back and then like exchange to that size or like try something new. I wouldn't like obviously destroy the shoe before you send it back, but like wear it around the house, make sure it like fits correctly and like make sure it fits your expectations before you like go running in it or then like return it. So that's like a good way to also kind of like trial some shoes. But yeah, I would definitely also highly recommend people get fitted. One of my pet peeves to this day is still like people like when I was working there, we were at the peak of like Hoka like popularity. People would walk in and they'd be like, I need a Hoka, and then we fit them and they like would not be the correct fit for whatever said Hoka they were looking for, and there were like clearly other shoes that were like better for their feet, and they would still walk out of there with the Hoka, and then they would come back like 2 days later and they'd be like, they don't fit, and we're like, yes, we understand.
Yeah. We were trying to tell you, but
yeah. Sometimes like the fads and like people's like, they're like, oh, my friend Barbara told me that this is the best shoe for me. It's like, okay, that might be Barbara's best shoe, but that's not necessarily your best shoe for you because you have a different foot than Barbara does. And maybe you're doing different things than her too. So yeah, I would very, very highly recommend people do that. And do you guys have Fleet Feet in New York? Is that what it is? Yeah. Then most of them will have those like foot scanners, and then the whole fitting process largely, unless something weird has changed, will be completely free. And you don't have to buy the shoes in the store. I know it like there's a lot of pressure to do so, but as someone who worked in a running shoe store and still like goes into shoe stores and like will periodically just check my foot shape and size, just do it for free and don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Go and get fit. Even if your best friend loves a certain shoe, it might not be the right for you. It might be, but it might not.
It could be. You never know.
Do you have like a hard and fast rule on like when you hit a certain mileage, these shoes are retired?
No, because like I wear through shoes differently than other people do because like the foot dystonia, I like rip through the outsides of my shoes. For me, usually I can tell like when my calf muscles get this certain type of ache in them, I'm like, yeah, this is the end of the shoe. all the shoes that I run in have like different mileage caps, I would say. There's a lot of it is just they're all using different foams. So if you have like a shoe that's using a foam that's a little bit more degradable, like say the Rebel from New Balance, that foam compresses like kind of fast. The Asics Nova Blast 5 definitely has a more compressible foam. A lot of like the Hoka Clifton, that one has a more compressible foam. But if you have like the Super Blast from Asics, that one's probably going to last you a little bit longer because the foam is just of higher just durability, I would say. Same for like 90% of the Puma shoes too. Their nitro foam is like unkillable. Like those are the shoes that I've gotten up to like 300, 400 miles.
Okay.
So
honestly, you need to be making commission off of Puma.
I one of my goals at like long-term goals is to somehow like work with Puma in the future.
Yeah.
But definitely kind of working my way up there. Right now, I'm like definitely leaning into more of like the wide toe box shoes like Topo and Ultra. And Ultra was kind enough to send me some shoes for free, which was very nice of them.
Yeah.
So any like yourself, like any like kind of support you can get from any other brand or like organization out there is definitely nice because they don't have to support you. But it definitely is nice to like feel like you're doing something and not completely for free.
Yeah. And it's fun to play around in the new different types of shoes too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do you have a shoe that are you still running in the 1080 or do you have like any other shoes that you're running in?
I'm pretty tried and true to the 1080 as my like daily trainer, which by the way, this only changed in like late 2023 because I ran in Mizuno's before that, like for a really long time, which is like not a super popular shoe anymore.
Yeah, they have some bangers though out there. Like the Neo Vista was really popular.
Yeah, I ran in the Wave Rider for a long time, and actually I think my first like 2 or 3 marathons I ran the Wave Rider, which is like so funny for me to think about now because the 1080 is very different. That's my like normal daily trainer. And then sometimes I'll throw in the Super Comp trainer from New Balance if I'm doing like a little bit of a speed day or if I'm just like dragging and I want to feel like a little bit of a fun pop, it's got the plate. Yeah. And then I've only run in them once, but the SC Elite V5, my dad got me for Christmas. Shout out. Thanks, Dad. I know you're listening. Because I just could not stomach the price of it, to be honest. Like race day shoes are not inexpensive. And I had run some races before in the, what was it? Saucony Endorphin Pro. Because I got them at like a race expo, when they have like all the like, old version of the shoes they're trying to get rid of. So I got them at a little bit of a better price point. But to be honest, like my foot is a bit too wide for Sauconys, I think. So I still have them. I'll like run some shorter races with them. But half marathon, full marathon, I want something that's like a little bit wider. And I do find that New Balances are wider than the Sauconys. So
yeah, the Super Comp, I think it's the V4 and the V3. And then the SC Elite V5 and V4, and then the Rebel V5 and V4. Those definitely have a much wider toe box than like the previous models did. They were a lot more narrow.
Oh, really?
And then they kind of moved up to that like kind of modular square design that they're kind of working with right now with the Rebel and the Super Comp and the Elite. And that's definitely, I feel like out of all the super shoes that are out there, unless you specifically get like the Ultra Vanish Carbon, like besides that one, which is obviously like a pretty wide shoe because it's an ultra shoe, they're definitely the best accommodating super shoe for like a wider foot, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think just from years like I danced growing up, so like the front of my foot is much wider from like your balancing, and all of that. So yeah, that's why like I particularly really have enjoyed the switch over to New Balance.
Yeah.
In the last few years.
And it's kind of like I feel like New Balance is the local brand largely for Boston because it's based out of Boston, but also New York because it sponsors like a ton of the New York Road Runners stuff.
Yep.
So it's kind of like most of the people that I know who run with Team for Kids are largely like New Balance people or Hoka people because there's also just a lot of people who like having that like extra cushion from the Hokas, even though the New Balances are just as cushioned. But Hoka is a cult of its own, and it just kind of, I just kind of go, and then
Yeah.
I keep moving.
Yeah, yeah. And I have a
So,
pair of Cliftons for just like walking around my apartment. I had to buy some
yeah,
like indoor only shoes when we moved to New
yeah,
York because the streets are just disgusting. But a
gross.
lot of times I'm like at my standing desk or like doing recipes in the kitchen on my feet.
Hmm.
So I wanted a little more support. So they're great for
Hmm.
that. But personally, like I tried to like them for running and they're just not quite right for me. So
Yeah. I feel like the funny thing is, like, I totally identify with you running in the Wave Rider for like your first couple of marathons because I ran in this, like, I think it was the Gel Cumulus 15, maybe, my first couple of marathons, which is like, at that point, I'm sure if I put those things on, they would feel like a hard brick.
like clunky, yeah.
Yeah, like a hard freaking brick right now. And I thought it was like the best thing ever because like I had bought like some like cheaper versions of Asics before that were like I call them like the Kohl's models. Like, you know, you find them in a
Yes.
Kohl's like store
Yes.
and they're like $50 and they
Yeah.
just have like that like one note foam that's like meh.
Yeah.
So I have been running in those and then I upgraded to the Cumulus,
Yeah.
and I ran my first couple of marathons and half marathons in that shoe, and I thought it was like the best thing in the entire world. And then I started working at a running shoe store, and I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of lame.
Yeah, and it's wild to see the evolution of running shoes over the years. I
Uh-huh.
mean, like when I was a kid growing up, like my dad's always running Brooks. My mom would like wear Asics, but that's when Asics was like old school Asics, and it was like you said, like the clunky.
Like
They
clunky.
had the like
It was
gel
It
instead
was
of
on
like
the outside.
foams. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember her like taking me to the store trying to get me into Asics for running shoes, and I was like, these feel so heavy, like I can't run in them. And that's when like those like Nike free runs were starting to get popular. The like,
Yeah.
you know, like super,
Zero
super
drop.
lightweight. So you could like fold in half, which have like no support. And I don't
they
know
were
why
just, like,
I ever
this
felt
big.
like that was a good idea for me. But yeah, it's funny to see
Yeah.
like all the ebbs and flows of those.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. And even over the last like 4 or 5 years, just to see like the evolution of carbon plated shoes. And now like we're kind of going a little bit away from the carbon plated shoes and more moving into like the super foams and things like that. And because a lot of people are realizing like there was a huge boom with the carbon shoes and people were seeing like other people run fast in them. But a carbon plated shoe isn't necessarily the best for you. It just depends on your body mechanics and also like what other conditions you're dealing with and like your foot strike and a lot of different things. So if you can use a carbon plated shoe and it does make you faster, that's great. But there are a lot of people out there who like, because of the way their body mechanics are, it's just actually not the most efficient choice. And we've kind of like come around to realize like, oh, like some people do well with the carbon plated shoes, but some people like just need like a slightly bouncier foam or like a little bit more support in the shoe or whatever it is. And then they can move a little bit faster, or it's just more advantageous for the way that their body moves through space and time. And we're kind of like, I feel like we've crested the top of like high cushion hill essentially.
Yeah.
And we're kind of coming down from that. Like the Hoka craze is like starting to peter off.
Yeah.
And all the really super high cushion shoes are kind of going like they're not the focus anymore. And we're kind of going into like the year of like the mid cushion shoe where it's a lot, it's not like minimalist, but it's not like super high, like 35, 40 millimeters off the ground, like a good like 20 to 30 millimeters off the ground, where it's like it's a good shoe, but we're not like 2 inches off the floor with the foam that we're running in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, it's like we're maybe entering Goldilocks territory. So
Yeah, we found some kind of like middle ground, but you know, whatever happens, you're still going to have those like max cushion peeps. You're still going to have your zero cushion peeps. Like everyone's going to stick around, but trends will come and go.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I know I have like 10 million other things I want to talk to you about, and we're approaching the hour. So I'm going to try and wrap us up. But I know you've been dealing with a little bit of an injury. Can we like briefly talk about that? And like, you're going to London still, yes, to spectate?
Yes, I am. I am going to London. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, so the injury that I acquired was a foot fracture. I've never actually broken a bone prior to this before. So I also, again, have like a lot of chronic illnesses that we previously listed before. I've gone through a colon resection. Your girl Julianna knows what pain feels like. You know, I've been through it. I have many tattoos. So I broke my toe running in ice spikes because I had to run a mile off the trails on the like road. I could have taken them off. Julianna, being a dum-dum, did not. I was like, I'm just gonna get home. I thought my foot was just achy. And then I went and did a trail run and I hit a rock like exactly right. And it just solidified in that foot fracture.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got home and I was like, normally if I have like some kind of chronic illness pain going on in my body, like when I get home and I take a shower or whatever, it starts resolving itself. This was getting worse. And I was like, oh no. I didn't even know it was a fracture for like 2.5 weeks after that.
Oh my gosh.
At that point I had already stopped running because it was just, I literally couldn't, like I was having a hard time walking around. Ended up having a foot fracture plus a foot infection. So we had to treat that, got gaslighted at the hospital. That was not the best time in the entire world. But again, chronic illness, I've been there before. I understand like doctors sometimes know what they're doing and sometimes they're just kind of dum-dums. But it was a solid like 2.5, 3 months before I was able to run again, which is extremely frustrating because it's such a tiny bone, It's not a big bone.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And like the mental side of that is such a challenge.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially like, how the winter was, and we had that giant storm down here on Cape Cod that knocked out the power for like 95% of the Cape. And that was in the middle of that too. So like I had some like really dark moments because like the worst was at the peak of like me having the infection plus not knowing it was a foot fracture and just being in so much like full body pain.
Yeah.
Because the infection was also like irritating all my chronic illness stuff and like making it so like my whole body was just inflamed. Like I couldn't sit, I couldn't lie down, I couldn't stand without like being in some format of like pretty bad pain.
Yeah.
So we had some dark moments there. Luckily, I have a very good support system around me of friends and family. So that was a huge savior right there. And I will just like say to people who are listening, if you are going through like a dark moment like that, please reach out to someone. Like isolation is what kills people. Don't like keep your thoughts to yourself. Tell someone what's going on with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great piece of advice and great encouragement. And I wish we had more time to talk about it. So I feel so bad there that I'm like rushing you through that. But for London, what are your plans?
London, I will be spectating. I also have like a lot of other things planned around that. Luckily, my friend Jess is running the London Marathon with Team Abbott, and they have a specific like cheer zone that she was able to invite her friends and family into. So I'm going to be in like this like cool bougie cheer zone area around mile 23, cheering for everyone. I'm sure I'm going to feel sad on the day that I'm not running.
Yeah.
But I do have the deferred entry for 2027. And I'm just telling myself like it'll just make it easier next year because I'll be more comfortable like with the whole process of like getting there, staying there, everything involved. So just kind of like building it up as that. And I'm doing a lot of things. I'm not just going for the marathon. Like I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I'm going to be going to the studio tour, which I've been to previously.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I've been there before, and I've also been to the Tokyo one. So I'm excited to go back after I've been, because I went to London and then Tokyo, and now I'm going back to London. So it'll be interesting to see how I feel about London after having gone to the Tokyo exhibition. And then just going to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I'm going to go see, which I've seen in Tokyo, London, not London, I've got to see London, New York twice, Chicago, Boston. Like I've seen it a bunch of times. It's my favorite play. And then I'm going to go see Into the Woods. I was the witch in Into the Woods in high school, so I've never actually seen the production. So this will be a lot of fun. And then I'm also going to Ireland for a week, which I've never been to Ireland before. So yeah, it should be good. Like I'm still going to get in some runs while I'm there and just kind of explore the city, which I always do when I travel, and explore like Killarney, Ireland and Dublin, Ireland. And just, it should be a nice time. I'll be leaving in like almost exactly a week. So we'll be heading out.
Yeah. So exciting. Well, and I think this will come out like right after London, but hopefully it's, obviously the trip will be a mixture of emotions. Like anytime you have to defer from a race or pull out of a race or anything like that, that's not easy. But then hopefully it also will get you excited, like cheering your friend on, getting to see, the lay of the land for the next year and getting you ready and hyped to train for that in the coming year.
Yeah. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, recreationally screaming is one of my favorite activities. So like I have no problem cheering for people. Yeah. And I've already started to brainstorm the sign I'm going to make for Jess. So it should be a nice time. I'll be around other people who are cheering as well too. I like having announced a bunch of races and like also cheered for people at races too. It can be just as much fun cheer for a race, especially if it's like a big race like that, where there's like a lot of people in the crowd. It hypes you up even more. So I think it should be fun. I'm excited.
Definitely. Okay, Julianna, where can people follow along, social media, listen to your podcast, give us all the good stuff?
Yeah. So if you want to find me, you can find me at Julianna_runs on Instagram. Just putting out silly, largely running content and like chronic illness stuff. Just if you like the sound of my voice, that's where you're going to find me the most. Also, if you're looking for the Cape Cod Marathon, it's capecodmarathon.com and at Cape Cod Marathon on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And then if you're looking for my podcast, that'd be Runnah, Runnah, because that's how you say it in Massachusetts. And it's at Runnah Pod on Instagram. And if you are just searching through any podcasting app, you can just look up Runnah, just spelled exactly like that. It's not you have to add the H though, because I believe Runnah, the training app, also has some kind of podcast too.
Okay.
Which people have. I've only had a couple people ask me. They're like, "Oh, are you this?" I'm like, "No."
Hot tip. It's with the H.
It's with the H. And then if you have want to email me, it's at it's runnahpod@gmail.com if you have any questions, queries, or anything like that. So that's all of my socials. I'm sure they'll be linked down below in the episode description. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Amazing. Well, we may have to have a part 2 because I could chit chat with you all day long about running and all the things, but thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is very nice.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.